we'll just go ahead and start the meeting, and we'll probably talk for a little bit. One of the things that, as we were talking, Patty and I were talking about earlier, was I had the opportunity to be the aide to Mario, um, the RIP president at Pell's, and he was an amazing man, and I stole his PowerPoint presentation. So I was going to share, it's just 7 slides. So I was going to share it with those of you that didn't have a chance to make it to Pell's. But he's a very dynamic guy, but he has a strong message that he wants to bring to the districts. And so I thought it would be apropos after this to be able to bring it to you guys and see what you think and come up with some ideas on what we can do for 5110. I'm stalling for Chris, but I may not have to. Angie, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thank
I
you.
I love your backdrop. Wherever you are, it's a good place.
Well, that's a manifestation backdrop, but I actually am in Hawaii right now.
Really? Wow. Well, fantastic. I'm in lovely Albany, Oregon. It's a dry rain up here. Anyway, okay, I'm going to share my screen and we'll start with see if we can get Mario's presentation going and get some ideas and some questions going on this. Okay, can everybody see what I'm talking about right now? Unite for Good. We'll put this up.
There you go. Yep.
Yep.
Excellent. I never liked the way that it changes the there it is. Okay. This is the new 2025-26 Unite for Good. And one of the things that I thought was interesting on this is I guess there was some serious discussion, and Mario did not like the fact that they had a different word and he wanted to use something that created action. So they came up with the word unite. Doesn't always translate across on an international level, but we in the business world, we always used to say customers for life. And our theory was is if you had a product that was of value and something that people needed and it was priced, there should be no reason why you can't keep that customer for life. And I feel that as Rotarians, we should come up with that same mindset. One of the things my wife asked me when I joined the governor line is, are you sure you want to do a 5 to 7 year commitment? And I didn't have the heart to tell her it was more like a 9-year commitment. But in all honesty, it was, my response to her was, do you think I'm ever not going to be a Rotarian? And she kind of went, no. So I think the Unite for Good is something as Rotarians we should kind of keep I think it's a great saying, and I think it's something that we should keep in the forefront is we really should take a look at our clubs and kind of look at how we can, unite for good. It's pretty much that's it in a nutshell. But we should look at our attrition rate and our engagement rates, and we'll talk a lot more about that later. So anyway, this is a quick, Mario's concept is he feels that we really need to take a good look at our numbers. And he spent a lot of time discussing the difference between static and stagnant. And he goes, a lot of times we feel that our membership is static, and he feels no, it's actually stagnant. We need to realize that. We need to accept that so that way we can actually move forward. So if you look at this graph, this is an international graph, and all of a sudden you're looking at Asia as the first column, and they're growing. And we are living off of those shirt tails of that growth. When in all honesty, if you look at Australia, he didn't have nice things to say about Great Britain. I'll tell you that right now. And England, he feels that their attrition rate is too high and they need to do a better job. But as you're going down here, one of the things that amazed me as well is the amount of numbers in Europe, Africa, and Middle East. Now they grouped them all together, so that's a lot of demographic to put in the same bucket, so to speak. But it's almost 300,000 people. So as you're looking at this 10-year, actually it's a 9-year span, we get to the USA, and we get to USA, Canada, and Caribbean. And that is where the largest membership um, loss is happening. And so we are, we're still promoting the 1.2 million Rotarians. Well, in all honesty, if it wasn't for the growth in Asia, we are bleeding members, and we need to honestly take a look at that. Any of you that has listened to any of the workshops that I have on the worksheets with clubs talking about retention rates, this is something we need to be aware of. We just need to look in the mirror and understand that we need to do something about our membership losses. And Mario's thoughts were, we need to make it apparent. So anyway, here's another fairly dramatic slide where it talks about our members. This is the membership loss, and this is obviously in U.S., Canada, and Caribbean membership, which I thought was interesting. He adds the Caribbean membership in there, and I really have never tried to pull it out to see what the numbers are. So we have the members are declining, and more importantly is the clubs. So as we talk about membership growth, one of the big things is we have to grow clubs. Clubs bring in members. And if our current clubs right now, we want to support them as strong as we can, but we really need to look at the number of clubs. If we had an area that supported 4 clubs at one time, and now there's only 2, we really need to look at those very strongly to find out how, why, and what we can do to either resurrect those clubs, bring those clubs back, or start a new club. Clubs that maybe have different focuses. And we'll talk about a little bit about satellite. But so as you're looking at your areas, I'm sorry, Mike, do you have a question? So here is some trends. And I am running through these slides because I have a couple more I wanted to show you. And then I really want to open this up to discussion with some really good question points. So if you're looking at membership trends, and he's calling this the Mid-Atlantic Pets, he's a 10-year by district. And I really didn't want to look too much on this one, but this one is the one that we really want to look at. If you're looking right down there at the end of the graph is 5110. And in 2004, we started with 66 clubs and 4,200 members. And 65, and now actually it says 62 clubs. We actually have 61 club. We lost High Desert in Bend, but that was a club of 2 people. Bless their soul, probably some of the best Rotarians we've ever had. But now we have 61 clubs, and the 2704 is correct. We started the 2024-25 year with 2,704 members in District 5110. We are currently at a massive 2722, depending on whether you're looking at MAPS, RI, or DAC-DB. And I will show you a slide that'll give us a little better understanding. So if you look across the board, all of these clubs are showing negative retention rates. And today's meeting, after I finish these slides, we're going to talk a little bit about how to fix those. Some more districts, just some more data. So this is kind of Mario's cure-all, and he actually was very, very motivated towards this. He feels that here's the 6 things we can do as Rotarians, as Rotary leaders, that we should be doing to reinvigorate, to remotivate, and to bring in our members and just strengthen it. So prioritizing the club experience, that's, we could talk about that for days, let alone hours. But we really need to talk about our club experience. We need to walk in the door and say, what are we doing in our club as a stranger? If you brought in somebody that's never understood or seen Rotary, what would they think? What would be their impressions? What can we do? Is our venue a good venue? Is our food a good, are we providing meals? Are we not providing meals? Do they feel inclusive? Do they feel like they need to are part of the group? Do we welcome them? I'm a very big advocate of people don't always remember what you tell them, but they do remember how you make them feel. And so we as Rotarians really need to work on that level. And it was good to see that Mario felt the same way. Engage former members. I have some ideas on this. So there are a lot of clubs that have alumni socials. It is something that I think I'm very, very much a proponent of, is the fact that, heaven forbid, we have a social, we bring in all the past governors, or excuse me, all the past presidents, bring in the alumni. It's not past club members, just the alumni, people that were there before. Maybe put together socials so they can remember why they enjoyed being Rotarians from the past. So this is something that we can look at. Anyway, reaching out to youth. This is a huge, huge thing. To me, we need to look at Rotaract. We need to look at Interact. Even the four-way test at last district governor's conference, the district conference, I did not realize it, but one of the contestants was actually the daughter of my dentist. And I walk into him, I met up with him and I said, I didn't realize you're Rotarian. He goes, I'm not, but he had never experienced our conference. And he was totally amazed. So we often forget about that when we're dealing with youth, that it's not just the youth, it's their parents. Every Interact, every Rotaract, every person that has that is part of our Rotary has the ability, their parents, and I'm talking specifically youth, have the ability to interact with Rotarians, and this is our chance to shine. Utilizing fellowships and action groups. Again, something that we can talk about. I think fellowships need to be at the last meeting, we had talked about 32% of all Rotarians join Rotary just for the fellowship alone, and 36% joined to have a positive impact in their community. So right there is, a 68% of all Rotarians are there for fellowship and working in their community. So that's something we really need to expound on. Leverage professional institutions. RIPE President Mario was adamant that we are not addressing our large amount of professionals in our institutions. We need to start talking to them. They're natural born leaders. They are part of our community, and that's something we really need to take a look at. And it's something as a club we should probably be involved with. Embracing new club formats. There we go. There's the secret sauce. Satellite clubs, companion clubs, but is more of an international term, even though companion clubs do exist in the United States. I like to focus on satellite because we have such a diversity and we are so open to doing what we want, is in satellites, that is something we should look at. And we have Patty Eisler on a call today. And one of the things that's not on his list is e-clubs. I think we need to engage e-clubs on a much higher level than we have before. In fact, I know Chris, our district governor-elect, is talking with Bill Greil, who is a past district governor, about how we can increase that level of engagement with them as well. So that is probably the shortest version of Mario's 45-minute program I can come up with. Yes, Jim. You're on mute, buddy.
I know, I was trying to get there. Can you go back to the slide from Mario about showing the history of the clubs with number of clubs membership across the district, for the Pacific Northwest?
Sure. If I must.
Well, I got a comment about that.
Oh, crap. I knew you would. I'm being funny. Here we go. You want the Northwest Pets?
That one right there. That's
the mid-Atlantic.
Back one. That slide.
Got it.
Okay. Now we talk about and Mario's pushing the new clubs and all the rest of it. And I support that to a certain degree. However, if you look at 50/20,
okay,
and from 2015 to 2019, District 50/20 did let's get new clubs. Let's get new clubs. Let's get new clubs. They did. They added 8 new clubs, but they lost 600 members.
Mm-hmm.
They and then over the course of the next, they've lost 3 more clubs, but they've lost 700 members. And if the key to that being is adding new clubs may not be the answer. The engagement of the membership is the answer, so you don't have that attrition out the door. I really think we need to spend our time on keeping our membership, adding new members, not necessarily new clubs. It may not be the right answer. Because you add all those clubs, and if you don't have the full buy-in and support of all those new members, they're going to go out the door.
Yeah, I fully agree. Jim, I am so glad you're on this because you're going to lead into a conversation here very, very quickly. So thank you.
That's it. I'm done.
No, this is good. So let's do this one. Okay. This is right off of the Membership Action Plan, or MAPS. Those of you that have ever been with to any of my workshops, I live and breathe by this data. And we can talk a little bit later about how I got it and where I got it if you're not familiar with it. I am currently in the zone. This is District 5110 zone dashboard. And what I'm showing you right now is exactly what Jim is talking about. Total clubs in the district, member of clubs with 0, which I'm not sure I understand that number. Number of clubs with 1 new member, 0 members, I guess, 0 new members. So 9 clubs have no new members currently. 10 clubs have at least 1 member. Net gain, loss to success track, -31. Number of growing clubs, we have 18 clubs in the district that are growing, 32 clubs that are declining in membership, 12 clubs that are considered fragile. And we can talk about that a little bit later if you want. And here's an interesting, they are forecasting a net loss of 18, which is ironic because the year before I was a membership chair, we actually had a net loss of 120. So that's massive when it comes to not losing as many, but it's still very sad when it comes to a growth rate of what we can do for District 5110. And I'm going to ask a series of questions specifically about what we can do to grow 5110. So here is the graph. And I feel this is probably the most dramatic graph that I can show members of what we're doing. If you start a membership with 2704, and that's what we did. Currently, we're at 2721. Actually, we're at 2722, but I don't want to arm wrestle over 1 member. But here's the interesting point that Jim was talking about. As a district, we brought 201 new members into our club, into our district. That's actually fantastic. Problem is we had 184 terminations. So we had a net gain of 17. Well, if you look at that graph, the yellow is the projected growth rate of our district. The blue is the actual. So we were following it. And if you notice right about December, mid-graph, a little bit before mid-graph, right about December, our membership peaks and then it drops. Well, what happens January 1? Our treasurers all look back and we all look at all those members that are not paying dues, or we send out and members decide that they don't want to renew their membership. So we have a drop. So then we spend the rest of the year working our tail off, rebuilding that membership. So we had the ability to bring in 200 new members, but we also have the ability to lose 184. So when Jim's comment about engaging, how much growth would we have had? Well, it's an easy question to answer. If we would have just managed to salvage those 184 people. Now, the old number, and I don't have an updated number, was 9.6%. But let's just say 10% of all Rotary clubs in North America lose members. They move out, they pass away. I think the political term is they age out, but their lives change. We lose 10% of our membership every single year just because of life. Maybe they start working at home. Maybe they retire. Maybe there's many, many things that could affect that. Regardless of that, it's something that happens and we have to be aware of that. So if you look at the rest of the graph, as of June 1, we're going to hit a growth rate of about 80 new members plus. Now, we can't just look at what our new members is, but look what happens July 1. That is a massive plunge. The reason why I find this graph is so specific is as club membership chairs, as presidents, things like that, we're going to turn around and say, well, we brought in 3 new members. We brought in 5 new members. We brought in 8 new members. Well, that's fantastic. But if your club is losing 12 members a year, you're losing a member, and members don't all go away. We gain them one at a month or 2 a month. We show that gain on a monthly basis, but the losses show up twice a year. So we have to be prepared to understand that we're going to see those losses. And as club membership chairs, we should be putting together programs where we look at them before the year. I mean, we should be looking at engagement in, October, November, December, to make sure that those people that are maybe unhappy with their clubs, or maybe are not getting the value they feel out of our clubs, that's when we need to find out when those members are, and listen to them, and honestly listen to what they have to say, to see if we can retain them, because it's a lot easier to retain the members you have than to go out and recruit new members. And it's the wisdom of what they have to say. Maybe they're going to point out some things that you weren't aware of. So this graph, I feel, is very, very powerful, because as Jim said, we have to be engaging our members. We have to understand why these members are no longer having the same understanding or not feeling as valued in Rotary as they should be. And it's up to us. So anyway, that's me on this. So let me stop sharing that. I just felt that this is a current graph of where we are in the district. Okay, so that's enough of slides for one day.
And I will throw out one other point on that graph, especially. A member in your club decides that change of life is necessary, and he moves, and not necessarily, and it can happen within the district. Somebody changes jobs, they move 40 miles away, and you have to terminate their membership before they can join a new club. So they're actually a transfer. The district doesn't lose the body overall, but a club has lost one member, and a club has gained one new member, and we've stayed static as a district.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative for that one club shows up. The plus for that one club shows up. But we
Guess what? Jim Polk is on this call too. It's a membership call.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a
for district.
It's a big thing to
And
look at
I'm muted.
when you're looking at your numbers. Is okay. Yes, we lost 3 people, but did Rotary lose 3 people? Did the district lose 3 people? And you got to weigh that with the positives of, hey, we kept 3, so I'll shut up again.
No. Actually, I want to take this time real quick to let you know that everybody that may or may not know, Jim Polk is the past district governor and my vice governor during my year, and is an amazing person, has one of the best understanding of our district of any person I've met, with the exception of our district governor-elect, Chris Waugh, who's on this phone and on this call as well. And this is the quietest I've ever seen her. So, Jim, you're invited to more of my forums any day you would like. But anyway, and that's just my sense of humor, giving Chris a bad time. So to jump on Jim's comment, here's a point I'd like to make. Last year, I had brought up many times the power of 3. If you took 61 clubs, if every club made it a goal to just gain 3 members a year, just a positive gain of 3 members, you would think that's not a hard goal. You would think that it would be something actually very easy. I mean, I've seen people come out of pets. I'm going to gain 10 members. I'm going to do this. I'm going to just 3 solid growth of a +3. Obviously at 61 clubs, that's 183 members. That would change our growth rate or our loss rate from 2,700 to a positive growth up to 2,905. Right there alone, if we could just get every club to focus on gaining 3 members and with a 0 attrition, so a positive net gain of just 3 members every year.
Jim, I'm sorry, Bruce, this is Diane Nelson.
Hi, Diane.
How are you today?
Good.
When Nelson Mailer came out to our club, we've had a lot of members leave, and then we've had a lot of new members come, and he was really positive about just what you're saying. And I don't know where we stand in our club now, but I'm Marisa Barrett and I are working on getting more members. So I just wanted to comment on that about what you're saying, that it's very, very true.
Perfect. Thank you, Diane. I'm going to take 4 more minutes to finish what I have to say, and then we're going to turn it over to the group with some very I have some very, very powerful questions I would like to ask. And this is from a district wide. We, as in the membership side of Rotary, I really want to get your understanding and ideas of what we can do to move the needle. So, with that being said, how do you feel as clubs? Because North America as a trend is losing members. That we could probably spend hours discussing what they're doing in Colorado or Texas or anything else. My feeling is that District 5110, I'm going to break the cardinal sin because I feel that clubs should never be inclusive. I think they should include a district. But here I am as a district chair going, I'm not going to worry about what they're doing in other districts. I think we should internally be discussing what we know works in our district and what we can do to support our district. I'm not here to support Portland. I'm here to support District 5110. And I'm here to do anything I can to strengthen the clubs in 5110. So when Jim, I watched him ask many, many clubs what we could do to support him. We got crickets. Well, maybe I can help a little bit more with that and give you some ideas that we can expound on. But for now, I'm going to open it up to the club. What do you feel that not just your club, but we as a district can do to gain a positive growth in membership? And there is no, and if you don't answer, I'm going to pick on you, because that's what I do. And my favorite person to pick on is going to be Sharon. Sharon, what do you think we can do down in Montague to help bring in just three members in your area?
Well, we're trying a thing tonight. We're honoring the women in business, and we've invited 16 local women, and hoping to get some Rotary members out of that. But I'm trying to think what you could do as a district. Just get the word of Rotary out there more. Let people think, hey, that's a club I want to join. Because right now people go, oh, is Rotary, what is that? I haven't heard of that. Or are they still around? Or we're out here. We're out doing stuff. And so I know it should be more on me too. We should be wearing our shirts and parading through the street and saying, hey, look at us. We're here. But we don't.
Sharon, you just made Chris, as the chair of the PI chair, very, very happy, because she is an adamant believer in public image. But the point is, I think we have to look at, from our engagement standpoint, we have to look at our existing customers, our existing members. I have a very powerful exit survey, which I think is the most foolish thing to call it an exit survey, because the questions that you ask of people are things that we should be asking people before they leave, not after they've left. Wouldn't you want to know why people are maybe not as engaged or backing out? Jerry Kasanovich, our past district governor, once made a very powerful statement. He said, if you don't think your club has an engagement issue, during your meeting, look back at your badge box. And if it's half full, you have an engagement issue. And I thought that was just an amazing saying, because that's the first thing I did when I went to my meetings. I looked back and went, wow, there's a lot of people that aren't showing up. Maybe we should be doing an outreach program. But anyway, to answer your original question, that was a great idea. And I do think public image plays a very good point of it. Jill Tompkins, what do you think that we can do now in the district? But each club, obviously, growth happens at the club level. So I don't want to say that we don't want to think about clubs, but what I'm saying is we're talking about a trend. So how can we as a district do more positive things to bump the needle, to change the trend?
Well, our club has pretty much taken the same train that Sharon's on, and we have really tried to increase our presence in Jacksonville. And also we're reaching out into Applegate, one of our it's always been a really, really tough area to infiltrate with Rotary. But we're working with the school, always have. And one of our new members actually is in charge of their Applegate. It's a neighborhood group that is absolutely doing amazing things out there. And so through that connection, we have been able to start some bridges. This is not the greatest time of year to do it because there is a real nasty hill between Applegate and Jacksonville that
I know that hill.
travel too well. But come spring, we are definitely going to be doing some projects with them. We've also built a really good relationship with the chamber, the boosters, and just and are having a brand new member who is the director of the community center. So we're really making some strides in like Sharon said, getting the image out there, letting people know Rotary is around. And we also doing a brand new fundraiser. Last year was our first year. It's a wine and dine. It's in September, and we've taken it over with the Jacksonville Wine District. So we're really trying to get involved with all the many groups in and around Jacksonville. And the other thing that I find is really great, we have a lot of visitors from other clubs. You know, I see Jim quite a bit. We have people from Medford Rogue. We all, after 5, they come to our meetings, even though they are at 7 in the morning. You know, oftentimes to talk about what they're doing and the projects that they have coming up, but sometimes just to say hi and because they like our club. So I love that working together, partnerships and supporting each other's clubs.
Perfect. Jill, when does your club meet? What day of the week?
Thursday morning, 7 a.m., Bella Union in Jacksonville. In the bar.
At 7 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. But I will say Jerry does a great job of keeping it sweet and clean.
Well, that sounds like a great club to be part of.
It's a great club. It's
Good.
my family. I love them.
Perfect.
Well, hey,
Bruce?
hey, Bruce. This is Brannigan Dixon. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Brannigan?
Good. Absolutely. Sorry, my camera's not working. I'm not sure what it's doing. Otherwise, my face will be up there too. But
No, that's fine. Love to hear
so
what you have to say. Thank you, sir.
yeah. So I know that you know, we're always looking for new members, and that's what we're talking about right now. And you know, we're trying to diversify and get, you know, a younger crowd and be you know, have a more mix of younger professionals or even just, you know, day-to-day people. And I was just thinking, you know, like retired folks. I mean, most of them are older, but I've got, you know, a handful of military friends that are retired, you know, that have either retired from injury, disability, but they're still very active,
Mhm.
you know, physically. And so I was thinking, I don't know how on a district level, but maybe it could trickle down from there to the clubs individually. But you know, maybe reaching out to these guys because you know they're like, oh, I'm bored. You know, I come to the gym and I'm here for a couple hours a day, and you know, it's like maybe there's a way we could tap into that demographic. You know, maybe having some sort of blitz where we go for those either retired, you know, military guys and gals, or you know, something along those lines. Because I know, I mean, shoot, between 35 and 60, you know, I know guys, and I'm kicking myself wondering why the heck haven't I been talking to them to come to a meeting?
Good point.
You know,
Brannigan, you brought up that's a good segue into satellite. If you can get 6 to 8 of these people that all have similar focuses and are friends, that's a special, you know, that's a perfect place to have a satellite where they can meet and focus on kind of things that they can do that are important to them. I truly believe that the success of Rotary is from fellowship. When you are spending time with people that you enjoy, you get a lot more done. When you are doing, you know, projects that everybody sees the value in, it becomes a much more positive experience. There is a group that I've heard of, and I apologize for not knowing more about it, of nurses that cannot make noon meetings, and their club is a noon meeting. So they actually meet in the evening, and it's just something that the times work for them. They're still part of the original club. The structure stays with the club, but they're more focused around what they can do as individuals. Their lives are similar, and they can actually put a concerted effort towards something. So if you have a group of ex or current military individuals that all speak the same language, trust me, and maybe not always the language you can put in public, but regardless of that, just a neat bunch of people that are looking to change some things in the community. That's a pretty powerful thing. I might actually, Chris has put together satellite clubs with old people, retired people. I don't even like using the word old because these people are sharp as a tack. And she's done some very youth activities. So I think you've got a pretty good. I like your comments. That may be something that we're not doing well enough of. I wanted to pick on Angie real quick if she's still around, because she's new to the club, and I know she's done some really, really good outreach lately. Angie, are you still with us? What do you think we should be doing as Rotarians in our district to make more Rotarians?
Hi. I don't know that I've been doing that outreach that you said. I am very new to the club. I've been there, I don't even think a year. But I am really interested in just basically what a lot of people have already said. I think public image, I think really helping people understand the diversity of people that are in our group. My particular club is I think a lot more diverse than I knew Rotary to be or believed Rotary to be. And so I think just the image of fun, the image of diversity, and really a strong focus on what are we doing to give back. We put on the Corvallis Half Marathon, which it brings in a lot of people. It's a really
Fantastic.
successful event. And I think when we bring, when we're signing people up for the half marathon, when people are coming to pick up their packets, when people are hanging around afterwards, having snacks, like we really need to use that opportunity to help them understand who Rotary is and what, they're signing up for the half marathon, like what some of the benefits of that are, that it's not just them running a race, like we're using that money to do some really important work in the community for some really incredible nonprofits. And so just really trying to use that platform.
I'm familiar with that fundraiser, and that is fantastic. Get your Rotaract, OSU. I used to always bug the Rotaract presidents going, we can't get it any closer. We're on campus. Do you guys want to help? And I think if you can get some of that youth involved, I think they might see a little bit more of just how important what we do is.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your comments. And by the way, Steve Mathis in my club came to me when I first started, and he goes, we really need your, what are your thoughts? And, could you bring in some more friends? And I said, well, I've just been here less than a year. And he goes, no, but all the rest of us that have been here longer have already asked all of our friends. So youth, it's very important to get perspective from people that have not been in the club, because they're a little bit more, they're looking at it with eyes wide open. And so what your comments are very, very important. So please make it a point to let Emily and Jennifer over there in your club know about those things. And of course, the rest of the group. Anyway, so has anyone else got something to add real quick, or am I going to pick on you?
I do. This is Diane again.
Of course, Diane, you bet.
I was a former membership we call in our club in Newport a membership matters club. And I was a former chair. And the reason I'm getting back into membership matters is another Rotarian and a friend of mine. Her name is Megan Shane. I was helping our membership chair, Marisa, with some issues. And she said, right on, Diane, that's what you love to do, and so on and so forth. So that is what I am doing, and that's what I'm working on. And I've even applied to be the chair of this committee next year. So I'm done.
No, thank you very much for your input. Dan, which, everything is important. We want to hear. It doesn't take one person. It takes many, many different thoughts. It's always easier when we agree on those thoughts, but it does take many. I have a question for the group. How many of you actually sit down once a month, maybe even once a quarter, and identify people that you'd like to ask to join your club? As Rotarians, for years, we had it very easy. We had clubs, people wanted to join us, they wanted to be part of the community. And now we may not have that presence. So one of the things that I know Mike Hewitt believes in, and I was going to call on here in a minute, is the fact that how many of us truly sit down with a vocational list, which I believe in, by the way, not from an exclusion standpoint, but from a way to think of maybe vocations that we haven't thought of before. How many of you sit down and honestly look at your community and drive through the town and go, ooh, there's a large supermarket, or there's a business, or there's something, we should have somebody from them in our club? Jim, you're up.
Well, I have a kind of a sidebar to that whole idea. We get together on a monthly basis as Rotary Clubs or United Rotary Clubs of Southern Oregon. So all 9 Rotary Clubs meet with our area governors, assistant governors.
You going to send me an invitation to that, Jim?
I'm not the organizer, but we can.
You got a computer.
That.
Why don't you send me? I'll be the mystery guest. I want to be part of that.
That'd be fun. Anyway, we brainstorm at every one of our meetings talking about how we can recommend people, even if they're not for our club, we can recommend them for other clubs. And we identify individuals that we know that aren't, maybe like in Central Point, they're not part of our organization or our group, but they could be in Ashland, or they could be in Medford. And so we make those recommendations, and hopefully people do their outreach, and it works. I think it works. I know we've identified in the last several meetings.
Do you assign to different people in your group, people to reach out?
Each president does.
Hmm?
So each president does. So Diana would be responsible for reaching out for somebody in Medford. I think in Jacksonville, Jill obviously would be one of those individuals.
Okay. If the president's happy with that, I always hate it when you always elect the president to do everything in the club.
Well, they can delegate.
There you go. Delegation is the key. Actually, it's asking for help. It's not just delegating. Delegating is telling people what to do. Asking for help is a way of being humble. I really need your help on this. Mr. Olson, Mark, how are you doing in Lincoln City? I was just out at Drift Creek Falls last weekend. Thanks for making the weather good out there. You're on mute, by the way, Mark.
All right, now you can hear me.
There we go.
Yeah, I think that Drift Creek and that bridge, right, and what it took to build that bridge, somebody had a vision, and we enabled it to happen. And I think that in some ways, where Rotary is its strongest, at least for me, is always been about bridges, about connections.
Love that connection. Good job.
Just, again, I think the strength of a community when people could come together with diverse ways of ideas, and we're building the whole. And so I think that idea of targeting people in your community that you want to, you think about how can we bring in more people to be diverse, and because it strengthens us as a whole. So that's where I would love to put my emphasis in on this year.
Good for you. Okay, we have 15 minutes. My question is what do you feel that if I task everybody on this call, and what do you feel the thing that you can do this week to bump that curve? What do you think we could do as a collective for District 5110 that we could do today, rather than sitting around and talking about all this stuff? What can we implement? And I'm going to go straight to Mike Hewitt on this.
Well, I'm gonna back up. How did Paul Harris grow Rotary? He asked people to join him. And so, Bruce, I'm going to ask you permission. Can I put you on the spot?
Well, of course,
Can I
that's
pick
what
on
you
you?
do.
Okay. So you told us a story here a little bit ago about a uh, oh, about a student who was for a speech contest, and her
Yes.
dad was your dentist.
Yep.
Has he ever been invited to Rotary?
Good call.
Have you personally invited him to come to your Rotary Club?
Yes, I have,
Okay.
but I do need to follow up because once is not always enough. And one of the things we do as Rotary, and I was cautioned on this by our president, our governor-elect, is maybe we should be more subtle than, hi, how are you? Do you want to be my friend and join Rotary? Maybe we should come at it from a little different understanding, but no, I think that we as Rotarians have not reached out the way we used to. But thank you for that challenge, Mike, because I do need to follow up with him.
Okay, and then the next thing isn't just an observation. I hear lots of good things about how we're passing the word about how we're doing good things by raising money, all of that kind of thing. But how are we identifying? How are we asking those people afterwards to come join us? I mean, the question is the ask. I can tell you that within the past 3 weeks, I'm working on 2 new members because I've asked. Okay, and that's the biggest thing is back to basics. If you're a coach, back to basics. We have to go out and ask people to join us, and we have to target those people we want to join us. We were talking about it earlier. Go through your town, look at the kinds of business and the kinds of people that fit the culture of your club, and go ask them. Have a committee, have an individual. Don't rely upon just your chair. I mean, Rotary membership is all of our responsibility. No matter how we look at it, it's all of our responsibility. So let's go back to our club culture. And in Port Orford, we have a very good club culture of asking people to join us. We're a very limited culture in that, we only have 1,200 people here. We've got 42 members, and we're headed towards 45 or 47 by the end of the year. It's just that kind of thing. Ask, get out on the ground, ask. Thank you for your time.
Mike, I think that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. I think we underestimate the ask. Merlin, you have your hand up. Love to hear from you. Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to mention how we're approaching it in Springfield Rotary. We have a very active membership committee, membership and social committee. Jay Zink, outstanding committee chair of that group.
Oh, good guy.
What that group has done is identified from the Springfield Chamber of Commerce key businesses that we have in the area that we do not yet have members in Rotary. And so that's been started at the membership committee level, but then that's also been shared with the full club, giving them a list. And if there's somebody that they have some kind of a contact with, so that they would get their name down there, and then we can check back with folks and see how that's going. But we're looking at a kind of a long-term strategy. If someone, asking them if they'd be willing to speak to our club about the exciting things they're doing in their business, certainly then approaching them as member, but maybe second to that first invite. And then also for fundraising at our gala events, we're always looking for sponsors. But again, not have that be the front end, but have that be something that follows. So getting them to speak, be a member, and then perhaps even be a sponsor. So that group meets second Monday mornings of each month, that committee. And that's one of the key things they do. They have a lot of other things they work on also for retention and stuff. But that's probably enough for me to talk about right now. I do have a few examples of things that we've done, and different names came to mind, and each one has a story, kind of a unique story. But I'll be quiet for now.
Well, Merlin, thank you very much. I didn't mention it this time, but it's nice to see that a lot of you people have put your clubs beside you. Very, very important. If you see somebody that you want to talk to further on offline, always reach out to them. This is what the membership form is for. Always make it a point to reach out. One of the things that I would don't want to delve into on this meeting, though, but is I like programs. I think one of the most successful things we can do, if you can get a city manager to talk about the growth, or maybe, you know, even something like the Department of Transportation talking about an overpass or something. If you can bring in a program, that is the best time to ask a potential Rotarian, hey, why don't you come to our club? We're going to be talking about this, something that is inclusive. I went to a meeting on floodplains, and I live next to a river, and everybody was riveted to that program. It was the most boring program you've ever seen because it was done by an engineer, but everybody found their house on the map because they wanted to know where they lived because it was important to them. But I think when you're looking at bringing people into your club, and as I said before, we were spoiled. I mean, people used to seek us out. It was brought up at an AG meeting the other day that, you know, you can't sneeze in one club without the other 3 clubs knowing what's going on. We are a tight group, and we know what we do. We may not do a good job of outreach to our communities, but that's the time to bring in people. If you're doing a community project, if you've got a good program, if you've got a reason for them to be at your club, this is the time to shine. Bring them in. Hey, you might want to hear this, and it might be something else. And before I call on Chris, who has her hand up, I want to hear what Lee has to say. And then we're going to call on Chris. Lee, thank you for being part of it. You've been very quiet. Good to see you.
Good morning. Oh, great. Now I've got a thing on top. Okay. I don't think you want to hear what I have to say.
I want to hear what you have to say. If it's negative, that's what we need to be able to deal with it.
I got very excited coming to these meetings. I haven't been in a while. I'm out of the country a lot, but I gave a presentation with ideas to our club. I was the speaker one week. I said, well, I'd like to speak on membership, and was tried to be, well, I was enthusiastic and so on. And quite a number of our members said they were very happy with the size of our club. They didn't really see a reason to to do this, to really work to get new members. We have, I think right now we have 35. We have got, in spite of that, we have a few, 3 or 4 new members, and I just saw something go out this morning from my co-chair welcoming somebody. So, you know, we're doing okay, but we also have a very small venue. We don't have very many places to meet. And I've tried working on that. I tried talking to them about how about we don't meet at 7:30 in the morning. I'm Sun River La Pine, where Sun River is mostly retired people who don't want to get up early anymore. They've done that throughout their careers, so they
I know those people.
So yeah, and so so I said, well, you know, some of the other clubs meet for lunch and so on. Well, we do have a few members, like the bank president, the bank manager, the elementary and middle school principal, and a number of professional people, fortunately, and young. This is good. And they said they just can't take that time out of the middle of the day. So then that idea was shot down. So Kaylin Grameter, who's our president, and I are actually the co-chairs of the membership committee. So I've made a few notes here, and I'm going to try to find if there are other people in our club who are interested in at least maintaining. Oh, and we've gotten some new members from other places too. As they retire and they've been in Rotary other places, we snatch them up. So that's worked pretty well. I will say
they're willing when you snatch them up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
They were excited.
It's a crucial part of the snatching up part.
Is Florence, Oregon part of 50? What are we? 5110?
Yes.
They are
5110, and we are from just a little bit south of Salem all the way down to the great city of Montague.
Okay, because
the
I also
epicenter of District 5110.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in Florence, and they have a great club. Do any of you know the Florence Club? Oh my gosh.
I hear they
It's-
they had a
it's-
pretty good
It's very
raffle
large.
the other day, fundraiser. Well-
Yeah, they're having, it's coming up. Actually, we have a fundraiser June 1st. We do pretty well for a group of 35. We usually get between 50 and 60,000 at our fundraiser.
That's
But we're blessed.
admirable.
We're in a community that supports that kind of thing. So I've taken lots of notes this morning, and I'm going to go back enthusiastic and see who I can drum up in our group to be a little more.
Thank
Hey,
you. Ruth.
Lee, what is your fundraiser?
Sorry, what
What
is
is
it?
your fundraiser?
Oh, it's a dinner and silent and the kind of the usual. We have lots of them in Sun River.
Okay.
I'm surprised that we do as well as we do because the music festival, Sun River, the Women's Club, we have lots of these things, but we have a very giving community, so that works. I just can't get them to necessarily. That's another thing I'm competing with. Our Women's Club has almost 400 members.
Oh,
And we are
wow.
constantly join, work. That's probably my biggest competition.
Well, 400, that's admirable though.
So we
Lee, I
are.
have lots of things I'd like to respond to that, but I really want to give Chris some time to talk. But thank you for bringing that up because there are some very definite points that you brought up that we should be addressing. But Chris, the floor is yours.
Well, I was going to make a comment about new member sponsors, but before I do, Lee, I want to react and respond to members who don't want to change, whether it's the day of the week you're meeting, or we don't need to grow, we like the way we are, or whatever it is that you're thinking about changing. When you bring up that dreaded word change, a lot of people just stick their feet in the mud, and it's like trying to pull a donkey. Hard to do. But what if we reframed it to an experiment? What if once a month you experimented with a lunch meeting or experimented with a way to get new employees? Sorry, I mixed up my work and Rotary. New members, or you experimented with a change to your fundraiser. You're still changing something, but they don't feel it's a final change. They're not losing the control forever. It's just an experiment. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back. So there's not as much risk to people. So that would be just one thing, to substitute the word experiment for change and do it anyway.
Thank you. Good idea.
That's one thing. But the other thing is that we recognize Paul Harris Fellows. Oh, he gave $1,000. Well, everybody doesn't get $1,000, but anybody could go get a new member. What do we do for new member sponsors? That's what I thought. When I was a new member chair membership chair for our club, when I first joined, I went back through this cupboard that had stuff in it. You guys have cupboards with stuff. And I found a whole bunch of new member sponsor pins. Didn't even know they existed. So I went back through DACDB and found out who's sponsored the most members and made a big presentation out of getting them up and, joining the club. Well, then COVID hit, and then I was president-elect, so I never went back to that idea. But I thought, why don't we reward or at least recognize our new member sponsors? Maybe give them a few Paul Harris points, or something that doesn't actually cost us anymore, but celebrate the fact that, wow, Jill just brought in 3 members. That's pretty cool. Maybe in give some incentive to the other people that, well, I guess I could bring in Joe from the grocery store. So those were my 2 thoughts from listening today.
Thank you.
I took up every second. Sorry.
I wrote them down.
No, Chris, thank you very much for adding it. Okay, we are right there at an hour. Do we have anything more to add? Thank you everyone for being here. Jill, it's always great to see you, as well as Sharon, 2 of our favorite membership people. Lee, thank you for showing up.
Yeah, Lee, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah,
You did a program for
Mark, welcome to
press
welcome
releases
to our
posted.
group. And Jim and Merlin, you guys have always, thank you guys for being here. You're the stalwarts of this group. Thank you for all of your input.
Yeah.
And we will go ahead and post the recording of this meeting and see you again all next month. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And Chris, I'm still writing those newspaper articles every month.
Oh, good to know.
Yep.
Good to know. Because Lee did a great membership forum one time on getting your articles posted.
Well, we may have to revive that.
Take stuff out of your newsletter and get it into local publications.
Because I know PI.
Oh, there's a thought.
Yeah, PI is always looking for great articles. So maybe we should be talking about that. Maybe we should be putting some articles from everybody.
I think the next one is, I wrote down an idea. It's what can Rotary do for you, or why should you join? Yeah, what does Rotary offer me? So I think I'm going to do that.
Good.
That'd be good for everybody.
Would you send that? Would you send that to me?
Yes.
I want to show you how to get it on. I'm going to make you a publisher at the district level.
Oh, great. Another job. Yay.
No,
well, you're already
only when
writing
you
them.
want to.
I'm already doing it.
You're already doing it. I'm just piggybacking.
I want a picture from Jim of all these people when he meets together. I want to see this whole group of people, this mysterious group of people he meets with on a regular basis.
Now, see, Bruce's feelings are hurt because he didn't get invited ahead of time.
I did not get invited, so I will make it
and
a
Mark,
point.
I hope you're better after COVID.
There's only
I am. Thank you, Chris. And I am going to be joining the Hawaii group, so I've signed up for that.
Good.
Thank you for that.
Good to know. I'll be curious to hear what you thought of it, because I've never been to a virtual one.
And the training that's happening in spring in Cottage Grove, and I saw that all of us are supposed to, presidents-elect are supposed to go to that. I know that I went 2 years ago to that, just on my own. But anyway, I will try to make it again. Some of those times are really hard for me as a pastor with 2 churches. So
I got it.
Mark,
but there is some special things, and you can either vote up or vote down the budget. For this year for the district. How much are we going to spend on membership?
There we go.
There you go.
there is a track
specifically,
specifically for presidents, and it's very, very important. If you can make that meeting, it polishes off everything that we need.
And it pulls it all together.
Great.
Okay. So
I will attempt. Great. Thank you all.
So Jim, I'm going to get a picture and an invite any day now, right?
I will talk with Julie and I'll talk with Michelle, and I will find out how to go about inviting.
Perfect. Perfect. And Jill, I want to put a workshop down in your side of the world. So we need to talk about venues. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm your girl.
Excellent. So we're done.
Okay.
Marilyn, thank you very much. Lee.
Bye.
We finally out-talked all the other ones, so I guess we got to go.